So people were actually booing in my theater at the end of the movie. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm Warren Thompson. So Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is now out, and this movie has been getting so much hype from the people who saw it, a week or two early. And honestly, I kind of get it. Now, disclaimer, I'm somebody who doesn't typically get overly excited for animated movies. I don't know why, just when they come out, I'm like, oh, that kind of looks cool. Most of them, I'm like, I'm not gonna see that. But there are some that I genuinely enjoy. I just don't get overly excited about them. But Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was very different, especially after watching Into the Spider-Verse. I thought that was just really, really good. So I was really looking forward to watching this one, like really excited. And this is what I thought about it. I was really excited for it, and I was really hoping it didn't disappoint, and it didn't, except for one part, which I'll talk about in a bit, but no spoilers. No spoilers. This is a spoiler-free review. Now, let's talk about the animation because we have to, but we don't need to talk about it much because in all honesty, it's amazing. I mean, it really is. I read that they said it took 2 to 3 years just to do the animation for Spider-Punk alone, who is a phenomenal character who I actually ended up loving when I didn't think I was going to. But, you put so much time and so much care into this animation, and it's amazing. It's visually amazing. It's spectacular. You watch it, and you're just like in awe of how good it is, right? So it's Into the Spider-Verse, but somehow a little bit better. It is. I don't think anyone could really argue the animation isn't amazing for this. And it's kind of just a Spider-Man thing, just an Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse thing, right? There have been others that have, I think, tried to mimic it a little bit, like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish had some really kind of similar animation. But when I saw it, I thought they took that from the Into the Spider-Verse franchise, right? So they are kind of like, I feel like, pioneers in their own sense of the animation style. And I did love Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, by the way. That's a good one too. But the animation's amazing, and you don't really need to say more than that. All right, so the voice acting and the characters themselves, I loved them. Really, even the ones you're not so like. I love the villains of this movie, and there are kind of a couple, right? I won't give that away, but the Spot, the main villain, truly a delight. As weird as that sounds, I actually really like the character, and his development was really good and really smart. They did that in a really smart way to where it's kind of like, this could have been a fail with this villain. Like he's funny, and it's kind of like, okay, you did too much or you didn't do enough, but they did it just right. The Spot's actually a really good villain, and I can't wait to see more. I'll leave it at that until just a bit. But Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099. I mean, Oscar Isaac crushed it as the role. I mean, really, everybody, right? Everybody who was in there just did an amazing job. But overall, this is a story about Spider Gwen, or Spider Woman as she's called in this movie, Gwen Stacy, and of course, Miles Morales. And it's really cool because you dive really deep into Gwen's story, and she's my favorite Spider-Man iteration out there. I love Gwen Stacy, Spider Gwen. She's my favorite. She is. And I was so glad we could go into her world. And it's a pretty deep story overall, which is really, to me, what made the movie, because I knew the animation was going to be good. And let's be honest, we know the voice acting is going to be good. We saw the first one, and we know the new actors that are coming in this one. We knew it was going to be good. Even Andy Samberg had a role, right? And his role was fantastic. I loved his character. I loved his voice. Everyone did a great job, but I knew it would come down to the story. And for me, it's a pretty dang good story. As far as Spider-Man stories go, yeah, it's really good, and it's really deep. They touch on a lot of different things, but that's why it makes it so good. I will say that the animation, it's kind of cool that they did do it this way, because we saw a lot of stuff in this movie that you wouldn't see otherwise. It took 2 to 3 years to do the animation for one character. Imagine what that would be like in real life, if it was a live action movie. So truly what we saw, the web slinging, the flips, all the acrobats that, it's animated, but it's really cool. And you couldn't see that in a live action film. Unfortunately, you wouldn't get as much. So it is actually a benefit to this movie that it is animated, because it's really awesome. But the story is incorporated with that so well. You're really drawn in. And when I see a really good movie, I'll clench up a little bit. That's what I was doing in this movie, in an animated movie, which I don't typically do. Even ones that have like high stakes, I'm not like, ugh. But in this movie, I'm literally kind of on the edge of my seat wondering what's going to happen here. So the story of Miles, the story of Gwen, and really the other Spider-Men that we run into, it's just really, really cool. And overall, it made the movie for me because it actually pulled me in. It made me get invested in the main characters and the side characters as well. But it also is just a dang good Spider-Man multiverse story. I feel like we've had a lot of movies where the multiverse isn't exactly what we have wanted it to be or have thought it was going to be for a particular story, but this one just works. It really does. The story is really good, and no spoilers, we'll do a spoiler talk later, but man, some of the things that happen, I'm just like, that's awesome. Didn't expect it. Makes perfect sense. Fits perfectly. I love it. Can't wait to see what happens next. Now, the reason people were booing at the end of my movie, you have to know going into this movie, it is a part 1 of a part 2. That's just what it is, right? So Across the Spider-Verse is a part 1, and Beyond the Spider-Verse, which comes out in a year, is the part 2. So this stuff's not going to get wrapped up all in this movie. And I think the majority of my theater didn't know that because they all booed when it said, you know, this is part 1, pretty much. So know that going in, but the ending, it does a perfect job of making you go, I want to see what happens next right now. And it's like 2 hours and 20 something minutes long. It's a long movie. And I was sitting there going like, no, I want to watch more. I want to watch the rest of this play out. I could watch the second movie right now. That's how good it did at pulling you in, at captivating you. So know that going in. That's why they were booing, not because, well, I did hear some people yell that it was kind of boring because it's kind of long. I didn't think it was boring at all. And trust me, I typically think animated movies are boring. But this one, I think, nailed it in pretty much all of the possible things that you could nail it in. It did a good job. All of the categories that you want to just check off here, like, did we do this? Did we do this? Did we do this? Nailed it in each category. It's overall an amazing film, and true Spider-Man fans are going to love this film. And even if you're not just a Spider-Man fan in general, if you're a movie fan or just a Marvel fan or just whatever, this movie is fantastic. Either way you look at it, it's just all good. I did think there was a lot more action in the beginning, but the way it ended really just makes you want more. And it's like you almost get exactly what you want, and then they're like, hold on, that's the next movie. And you're like, no, but it's like you love it, but you hate it. And you're just like, I want it now. But overall, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, it was a great movie. I think I gotta give it a 9 out of 10, probably losing a point because it is a part 1 and they're making us wait for that second part. Hopefully Beyond the Spider-Verse, I can give it 10 out of 10. But honestly, the movie was amazing. I think everybody's going to really enjoy it. Have you seen it? Let me know what you thought about it. If you haven't, let me know how excited you are about it in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter as well. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.